I play so many different types of games, and I always look forward to playing games that aren't afraid to linger in the shadows, to explore the macabre and sometimes the darkness within people. So when I started up Minute of Islands, I was greeted by several trigger warnings, which is very good to let people know ahead of time. But for me, it's my cue to get excited because we're going for a ride. Wait, that makes me sound like a dog. Anyway, what originally drew me to this game was the cartoon-like art style. Everything in the world looks so handcrafted. And while this may look like something on Cartoon Network, it's definitely much darker and more disturbing. I love how otherworldly the environment is. Everything is so squishy. Even the technology in this world feels like it's breathing. The story here centers on a young girl named Mo after a great exodus plagues her homeland. An unstoppable fungus spreads its toxic spores far and wide, slowly destroying the biological matter it comes in contact with. Some people fled to sea, others stubbornly stayed behind. And the giants that lived in close proximity to the humans retreated underground, using their advanced technology to keep themselves alive, but only by the skin of their teeth. Mo, in an effort to stay ignorant of death, retreated underground to live in isolation, helping the giants keep the island's many air purifiers running. She relied on them for the physical strength she did not possess, the strength to manually turn the engine that powers the island's technology. The thought that she couldn't power the engines herself frustrated her, so she did everything she could to keep the giants going with everything they needed. All of the maintenance and repairs, traveling the outdoors, and supply runs. But today, something wasn't right. The engine was deadly silent.
It hits Mo like a punch to the chest. It is all four of them. They all broke at the same time.
All four giants that power the engine have stopped. Meanwhile, clouds of spores drift and gather outdoors, poisoning the air, confusing the minds of all that inhale. As usual, Mo takes the burden all on her shoulders. She doesn't need any help because anyone else would just get in the way. Her family wants desperately for her to come with them and leave the land behind. But she needs to be here. If nobody does her job, the current inhabitants would surely die. Besides, interacting with family right now is pointless. We don't have time for any more arguments. There is much work to be done today. The gameplay here is basic platforming: jump, run, climb, scale, push, and interact. There are no enemies, but a few obstacles to avoid and some fairly simple puzzles to complete. Scattered throughout the land are somewhat hidden collectibles in the form of memories that you must recapture.
Mo used to keep little trinkets in this hole, until the day she reached a little too far. Her uncle always laughs as he retells the story of the proudest fish he caught, the Mo.
These memories serve to give you a bit of background on Mo's earlier childhood. Navigation in this game can be a bit slow, mostly due to overly complex terrain, climbing up, down, snaking around paths, but all of that slow pacing felt appropriate. It gave me just enough time to digest the story and really think about what is going on here. And this is a story that I could not stop playing. Much like Mo, I had to press on until the end. Otherwise, the gameplay is mostly linear. You could almost classify this as a 2D walking simulator. For me, what shines brightest here is the story, art, and music. And that's one thing I haven't mentioned yet, is the music. The score is quite good, and it amplifies the feeling of despair, hope, and confusion. Interestingly, there is a lot about this game that could be applied to the world today. A spreading disease, people isolating themselves from society, and the toll that takes on their mental health. Mo refusing to wear her mask outdoors despite pleas from her family. But more than the plot are the underlying self-destructive tendencies, family struggles, hallucinations, hardships, and ultimately, learning to let go. As they say, no man is an island. You can't do everything on your own. To summarize the game, we have a unique, somber world, really well animated cartoon-like art, an excellent soundtrack that complements the overall mood, and some very basic platforming and puzzle mechanics. It's roughly a 5-hour journey, but I will say that it is interesting to experience it again after you've reflected on it a bit and understand the characters a little more. Overall, I would give the game a 7 out of 10. Really, the only things holding it back are the basic gameplay, and I do wish that the story was a bit longer. Minute of Islands is available on Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, Mac, and PC. MSRP is $20 US. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, I will see you later.